Hello there, Star Wars Santa. There's 135 days until Christmas 2020, and I've been wanting to get on here last few days. We had some internet issues here, so I wasn't able to get on yesterday as I wanted to, or late last week. So uh, the main topic I wanted to lead off today had to do with the season 2 of The Mandalorian, and a lot of people aren't really talking about it, but it's something that I caught right away, and it's something that I've been thinking about and wanted to ask. How many factions are looking for the child? How many people put out the bounty for the child? Are there more than one? Is it all uh, coming from the bounty that Grief Karga put out there, which of course goes on to Moff Gideon? Is Moff Gideon the only person who was seeking out the child, who put out the bounty for the child? Of course, we're talking about the baby Yoda that the Mandalorian has taken under his wing. Is commonly known as the baby Yoda. I think officially it's called the child. And so I wanted to know, what do you think? Is there more than one person looking for the child? Xavier, oh, hello. Harvey recommended. Thank you so much. Yes, I am a Santa here in Central Ohio, where I live. I am Santa Claus, and look forward to sitting with children every year, getting pictures taken with families, and we find out what kids want for Christmas, and able to share a little magic and a little happiness and joy with families as Santa Claus. So it is something I do, and do professionally here in Central Ohio. So there you go. Am I Santa? Yes. I am a Santa. So I wanted to ask, how many factions are looking for the baby Yoda, or the child? So let me just give some of my evidence, and hopefully some other folks will join in. But Xavier, feel free to give your opinion as well. I want to skip that. Let's come back to that later. So watching through The Mandalorian season 1, uh, when the Mandalorian goes and gets uh, the the request to go get the baby, right? He gets the bounty to go find the baby. He's specifically told by this doctor that they wanted him alive, and then Grief Karga even uh, uh, agrees, said yes, alive. That's in the episode. So he tells him, yes, we want the baby alive, and but then Karga goes on to say, but we understand things happen, right? In this business, things happen. But if we don't get the baby alive, we'll still give you half the bounty if you still deliver the child. So keep going. It says proof termination is also acceptable for a lower fee. Again, the primary is alive, as said by the doctor and Grief Karga, that they want the child alive. Let's keep going through the episodes. When at the end of the episode, when the Mandalorian meets, gets together with IG-11, and they fight, they get to the end, and they find the child. IG-11 says the commission was quite specific. The asset was to be terminated. Now here we've seen Grief Karga and the doctor say preferably alive, but if things happen and you can bring proof of termination, that's acceptable for a lower fee. That's not a specific that the asset is to be terminated. My belief is that IG-11 was hired by another faction, and perhaps there were others searching for the child who were also hired by the same folks that hired IG-11. I don't think that it's that same bounty is being offered by different folks, or by Grief Karga, with different conditions, telling some to go out and terminate the child. That's the specific requirement, right? It says the commission was quite specific. The asset was to be terminated. IG-11 believed that he had to terminate the child. Let's look at some additional evidence. So keep going through the season. The Mandalorian, then, once he gets back, we get to episode 3, and he delivers the child. He gets the reward, and then starts wondering, like, what are they going to do with it? He even asks, what are they going to do with it? And the guild rules say you're not supposed to ask questions. So it's not your problem. You've been paid. Move on. Well, he doesn't. He goes back and he uses his rifle with the sight on it, and it has a audio pickup, and it says, Grief Karga is talking to the doctor here, and it says, I order you to extract the necessary material and be done with it. And in that same conversation, then the doctor replies back, Dr. Pershing says, he has explicitly ordered us to bring it back alive. He. Who is he? So Dr. Pershing says he explicitly ordered us to bring it back alive. Compare that to what IG-11 said. IG-11 said commission was specific, the assets to be terminated. Explicitly ordered to bring it back alive. These are conflicting missions. And I don't believe that it's just a misinterpretation by IG-11. I think he was hired by somebody else. The question is who? Who is the other party searching for the child that wants it dead, wants it terminated? And that was specifically the charge. And you would believe that. Well, let's finish here, because there's a couple other points to bring up as I do that. So when the Mandalorian gets in, Dr. Pershing says, if it weren't for me, he'd already be dead. And then here we go. Moff Gideon shows up, and he says, it means more to me than you will ever know. So the child, Moff Gideon wants the child. The question is, does Moff Gideon want the child alive or terminated? Or does he not care? So let's look. I think there's a little bit of evidence that tells us what Moff Gideon's desire is. The first thing is when we see these troopers that, right, the speeder bike troopers that pick up the child. It says the last thing that you want to do is give Gideon a bag and have him open it and find whatever it is dead. So these troopers had very clear in their head that they needed to bring back the child alive. And they were hired by, they worked specifically for Gideon. And so we go back to Gideon's comment where he says, it means more to me than you will ever know. That's in direct conflict. Oh my goodness. Oh, I cannot believe it. This is my lucky day. How is it possible? Girls with Sabers are here to say hello. Oh, thank you so much for joining. This is a special day. We get Girls with Sabers. I love you guys. Thanks for joining in. I don't know which of you. If it's so, if you let me know, that'd be great. I'm so excited. So anyway, I think that the evidence says Gideon hired Karga, or was behind Karga, Grief Karga, who hired Mando to get the baby, to get the child. And in this case, he wants the child alive. I think the evidence is there to say as much, in that IG-11 had a different charge. IG-11 was told that he was specifically told to Imrus. Oh, wow, this is great. Thanks, Imrus. Great to see you. So IG-11 was specifically told to terminate the child. So I believe that there's another faction looking for the child, and this other faction is at odds with Moff Gideon. Now, I don't know how many of you have read the Aftermath series of books, and we see the different Moffs there. jockeying for power, jockeying for leadership in the vacuum left uh, after the emperor was presumably dead. And at that point, they are undercutting one another and they're planning to assassinate one another. There's all kinds of different shenanigans going on, if you will. And I think that there could be another Moff or somebody that knows what Moff Gideon's goal is here, what the potential is when Moff Gideon has the child, that Moff Gideon with the child presents such a risk that they wanted to have the child terminated to prevent Gideon from achieving whatever it is he's going to achieve with the child. So one of my predictions for season 2, and I've not heard anybody wonder who else is looking for this child, and so much so that they put out a bounty to find it dead. And if you remember at the very towards the end, when we thought maybe the Mando might settle down with the widow, and he was certainly going to leave the child there to be raised in that small village, and he was going to go on his way, but then the child was nearly shot there. So I think, there's my friend reimagining Star Wars. Good to see you, Magic Maker. I think that they were trying to terminate the child there as well. So I think there are two factions. I think there's one that wants the child dead to prevent Moff Gideon from achieving whatever it is he's trying to achieve with the child. Who might that be? And I see you're saying nobody, a Magic Maker. I disagree with you. I think that there's somebody is looking for him, and that in the second season, this is going to be one of the subplots that comes up. What is the thing? We know that certainly Moff Gideon and all the speculation about who he is, where his lineage comes from, is he a Mandalorian by birth, and he picked up the Darksaber? Is he a rightful heir to the Darksaber? All of these kind of speculations, I've seen all of that. I'm aware of it, and I've seen your speculation as well, Magic Maker. I saw that the other day. Very interesting who you thought that he could, that the Mando could be, actually. So, no, my being contrarian. I can't wait. We need to talk again soon and get scheduled our next show together. But I truly think that that's one of the main plot lines for season 2 is going to be this other faction, and we're going to find out that there is somebody looking to kill the child, and we already heard a lot of rumors about guest appearances of other folks being tied into the story for season 2, including Ahsoka, of course. But then we also have lots of rumors of different folks, and we don't necessarily. There's plenty of videos out there, people talking about it. I'm excited. I think we're liable to see Ahsoka come in as part of the protection for the child. And we've thought a lot about Ahsoka coming in for the Mandalorian to pass the child to, because of the Force sensitivity, and Ahsoka then to take the child as a youngling to train in Jedi ways. Perhaps that is the case, but I think we might also get Ahsoka involved. And we've also heard that Moff Gideon, right, the actor, they broke several sabers in filming, and we're expecting some good saber action. I'm hoping that we're going to see Ahsoka come to rescue the child and try to take it all away, and then Moff Gideon and Ahsoka will have a saber battle. So that's my primary speculation for season 2. It's I'm curious to know. I see a Magic Maker. You think that that I might be onto something here? Be curious what you all think. because I've yet to hear people talk about it, and I just couldn't give up when I went back and saw what IG-11 saying that it was quite specific. The asset was to be terminated, and then we see the other um, uh, bounty hunter almost shoot the child right from distance, and that proof of termination would have gotten him paid. But I think that was contrary to what Gideon wanted, because again, Gideon says it's very, very important to me, and Dr. Pershing says he explicitly ordered us to bring it back alive. That's explicit. That's not a misinterpretation. So that's what I have there. So great to see you guys here. So then there's, I'll give you guys a chance to comment or give me your thoughts. There's also the bit of news with Gina Carano, and I wanted to just talk about it a little bit because this kind of thing has been happening. This is the picture that she posted. It's a popular picture from World War II, and they said it originally it tie into the First Order. That's a good question, a Magic Maker. If it's going to tie into the First Order, then might this be connected to the cloning strategies that ended up with Snoke and, of course, Palpatine's son, who is Rey's father? It's very possible. The child is Snoke. There's a popular meme out there that shows the stormtrooper that bonks his head in A New Hope, and lining up to the crease in Snoke's head. So maybe he was the stormtrooper in A New Hope. I thought that was funny. So anyhow, this is the image that Gina Carano posted that then started a firestorm after that. And from what I can gather, the firestorm wasn't at all connected directly to this picture. This is, again, it's a famous picture from World War II of this man not giving the Nazi salute. And there's other angles that from this event that show Hitler on the stage there where they're saluting. And Gina then posted about the backstory to this guy and why he wasn't saluting. But then that started a firestorm, and the firestorm really seems about what she won't post rather than what she has posted. And through all of this social justice after George Floyd's death and the Black Lives Matter movement and all the uprising, the protests, Gina has yet to publicly state support for that movement. And she's posted several things through social media, and from what I can gather, it has nothing to do with this post nor the story that she posted about, but rather it has entirely to do with her not wanting to say other things. Okay, Emerus, thanks for stopping. So happy to see you here. You have a great evening, and I can't wait to catch another one of your streams. It's so hard for us to get connected at the same times. Every time the Girls with Sabers go on live stream, I miss them, and I have to catch them up afterwards the next morning, and I post my comments on there. They're great. And if you guys aren't following Girls with Sabers and you love Star Wars, you should follow Girls with Sabers. They're fantastic. Now, they're Raylos, and unabashed. They have fantastic arguments to support, and I'm the token Finray in the group that just kind of pokes fun at them from time to time, and they poke fun at me. We love Star Wars, and we just love talking about Star Wars together, and they're wonderful in the research they do, in the knowledge they bring, and their show is fantastic. And if you're not following them, they're worth checking out. And if you're not a Raylo, they'll still welcome you in anyway. Just be nice, right? That's the whole thing. Be nice. They put up with me, and I love interacting with them. It's great. Uh, that's fantastic. I can't say enough great about them. So Girls with Sabers, you can look and find them, and encourage you to go check out their channel. And then, and while I'm talking about it, reimagining Star Wars, my friend the Magic Maker, he has a channel, and he and I collaborate on some things together. That talk about writing and fan fiction. And if you're a Raylo or a Finray or whatever it is, and you want to write some fan fiction, they are trying to help people as they develop their writing skills. And they have a bigger project about trying to come up with some continuity. But even with, if you're just interested in your own flavor, he's there to help folks. So there you go. So that's my plug for reimagining Star Wars and Girls with Sabers. And so anyhow, so Gina Carano refuses to make a statement about Black Lives Matter, and that's gotten her a lot of pushback from the Black Lives Matter and from the social justice community, saying that silence on an issue is something that is tacit support for the problem, and that if you're not actively fighting against the problem, then you are part of the problem. And I think that's a disservice for a lot of folks, and for myself as well. As I mentioned to Xavier at the beginning, I am a Santa Claus, and I have a Santa Claus personality that I'm known in the community. Folks on social media follow me who have all types of different political, religious backgrounds. As Santa Claus, I want to show warmth, welcome to everybody, regardless of where they come from. And I have taken pictures with Muslim families, Jewish families, Christian families, non-Christians. I've taken pictures with people who are American. And I've taken people who don't speak any English. I've taken pictures with people from Mexico and people from Sweden and Norway and people from all over the world. And I don't want to have a political presence when it comes to these issues. I don't want to speak out about political issues that I see personally, because I want to reach more people as Santa Claus than just people who agree with my political positions or my religious positions. Personally, I am a more conservative leaning, like Republican type. I've supported the Republican Party in financially as well as organizationally. I am a conservative Christian. I go to Southern Baptist Church, a member of a Southern Baptist Church. Those are my own personal positions. And as we've raised our children, we've been very conscientious about teaching them that people come from all different walks, and they have all different opinions and beliefs, and yet they're still welcome. We've brought people into our home who didn't have anywhere to live. Most recently, there was a young African American girl who was a college student, and she got into a tiff with her parents, and they said she was no longer welcome to live with them, and she needed somewhere to live. And we didn't know her outside of anything, but we knew that she needed a place to live. We let her stay with us for some months as she worked out with her family and to reconcile with them and to come about some place to live. And I have a dear friend of mine who married into a family where they're from Mexico, and we were given the opportunity to go stay with their family in Mexico. They took us into their home, treated us as family, and we got to see where they live and where their culture. We were completely absorbed into it and welcomed. And we have been sponsors of Japanese exchange students, have been able to love and care for children from Japan who have stayed with us. It's fantastic, fantastic experiences for our kids to know that not everybody looks like us or thinks like us, agrees with us religiously or politically, but we love them the same. In fact, we go out of our way. And so I think for me, rather than posting on social media what my religious political views are, which I've shared here, I think it's more powerful the way that I live my life and the way that we raise our children and the way we interact with people from all over the world. And that's one of the things that uh, I can associate with Gina and understand that she doesn't want to get embroiled. She has folks from her WWE experience and from the her acting and from other roles that she's been involved with, who come from different sides of the religious spectrum, from the political spectrum, and she doesn't want to ostracize them by going into this. And I get it. I completely understand it. But who is she as a person, and what does she stand for as a person? What does she do in her personal life speaks far more about her than what she will or won't post on social media. And I think that the way that she's been called out has been damaging. And she started blocking some of the folks that were being really, really aggressive. And by blocking them, then uh, others said, "Whoa, look, you're blocking the Black Lives Matter activists, which means you're anti-Black Lives Matter." Again, reading into her social media things that she's never said, and uh, for all we know, she could be giving financially to Black Lives Matter causes. She could be supporting people who have been disenfranchised or who have been treated poorly. We don't know. You don't know her personally. You don't know what she's doing personally in her life. And it's unfair to then take something from a celebrity, from somebody who has a, a public personality, and then assign them certain beliefs because of what they said. The other one that I saw just recently was William Shatner. And here's a boy who comes from a Jewish family who doesn't want to be labeled and identified with any label. And I think it would be a stretch to say that William Shatner, who's in his 80s, is a right-wing conservative, stalwart. He was born in Canada. He's Canadian from Jewish ancestry, and he just doesn't want to be drug into it. And he's going through much of the same sort of fight that Gina Carano is going through, and I think it's very fair to say that he is more likely a left-leaning politically. He just doesn't want to be drug into this social justice battle on the front lines, and that's I've got absolutely a lot of respect for them, and I understand where they're coming from. So that's my thoughts on that. Um, I see your comments. I appreciate your comments. I'm following along and seeing what you're saying, and I truly appreciate your support and your words of support. The next issue that comes up, and I saw it come up again today. Thor Skywalker put out a video today as well, and I've seen, and I almost hesitate to state it, but that Star Wars girl did a thing, and I watched her video. I am not uh, affiliated with that whole movement, the fandom menace. Although I did support Thor Skywalker, and Thor Skywalker, I don't believe is associated with the fandom menace either. But he certainly has opinions and attitudes and thoughts that are very similar with a lot of the fandom menace folks. But he comes at it from a more just a pure fan perspective, and he doesn't put anybody down for not agreeing with him. If you love The Last Jedi, he's not going to put you down because you do. And I think that, oh, Shatner was funny on American Pickers. I saw that episode, and I enjoyed that show, American Pickers. It's a good show. Um, yeah, he's a neat guy. He might be conservative, but I don't think that. I would be surprised if he's an activist conservative, more like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't think he would be. I know that he's also friends with Terry Bradshaw, and Terry Bradshaw is a conservative guy. He's come out with for GOP kind of things, and so it's possible that Shatner is affiliated with uh, conservative folks and has some conservative thoughts. Um, it's a good point. That's a good point, Xavier. You might be right. Um, so anyhow, um, I, just going back to talking about uh, Thor Skywalker, his video today was about um, is there a George Lucas cut of The Rise of Skywalker? And I mentioned that I watched that Star Wars girl. Uh, I generally can't stand watching her videos. I don't agree with her, and I think she's way off base a lot of the time. But she brought out some really good points, because there's also this rumor not only that there is a George Lucas cut of The Rise of Skywalker, which I agree with her and Thor, and I believe even Geeks and Gamers Jeremy said he doesn't think it exists. I agree with all of them, and it does not exist. I'm quite confident it does not exist. I don't even think there is another J.J. Abrams cut of The Rise of Skywalker. I don't think any of that exists. Um, it's certainly not in any form that is even close to production or release kind of finish. And any kind of input that George Lucas had on The Rise of Skywalker, I think Thor Skywalker's video today was pretty much on point. Like J.J. Abrams, others contacted him. They consulted with him. George Lucas was involved in a lot of the pre-production planning, and they interviewed him. They did a lot of talking with him, and I think that they took that information and they made the movie they were going to make. I don't know that they made the movie that George Lucas would have made, certainly. And there's a lot of speculation that George Lucas is unhappy with The Rise of Skywalker, that George Lucas is unhappy with the sequel trilogy. Um, I'm not as confident in how unhappy he is with the sequel trilogy or The Rise of Skywalker, or for that matter, even The Last Jedi. I don't know that George Lucas. We do know that he came out and said some things about The Force Awakens, and then he kind of had to walk them back and apologize for the things he said because of how it was taken. And now people are then extrapolating from that and saying, well, he's unhappy with these other things, and that he didn't show up for the premiere of The Rise of Skywalker shows just how dissatisfied he is. And then they start to associate other things with him based on how he wrote and directed his other movies, and then compare that to the sequel trilogy movies and say that they don't fit, and so that they have a different tone, a different thing that George Lucas, and they also have some supporting evidence from the kind of story treatment that George Lucas had for what he would have done for his sequel trilogy around the wills and that whole world. So I think there's a lot to be said about a lot of that, and that maybe he isn't, lockstep with The Rise of Skywalker or the sequel trilogy, but I don't know that he is unhappy with them either. There's a lot of evidence that says that he thinks they did a good job of making those movies, even if they're not his stories. So who knows? Unless you know him personally, And there's some people who said that they do, and they came out and said some things, but I don't believe it because there's too much spin involved. If somebody came out today and said that George Lucas, they're really close with George Lucas, and they hang out together, they eat dinner with him once a week, and they know him personally, and he absolutely loves the sequel trilogy and thinks they're better than anything he did, I wouldn't believe them. I wouldn't believe them because there's too much uh, being said and done in that space that's inconsistent. And unless he were to come out in some sort of public interview and give his thoughts in a very explicit way, that'd be the only way I believe anybody with that they have to say. And Xavier, Daisy, I absolutely love Daisy. And I love Ray. Ray is, for me personally, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, uh, I I have a personal, her character impacted me in a personal way, stronger than perhaps any other Star Wars character ever has. And I'm from the original trilogy era. I saw the original trilogy movies when they came out, and that's part of my DNA, if you will. That's been with me forever. And Ray's character, for many reasons, touched me emotionally and impactful to me personally. And I certainly understand why people don't like her character. That's why I subscribe to Thor Skywalker, is just to get to understand that more. And he and his community helped me understand that. And then I just had to part ways because I couldn't keep following Thor and supporting him with all the negativity around the sequels. And that's just me. A magic maker. I have a friend who can methodically justify the rise of Skywalker. Yeah, and it's a great story, great ending. People, reasonable people can have different opinions and attitudes, and it's no sign of how much of a fan or not a fan you are by how much you love or don't love a particular movie, book, game, or story involved in the Star Wars franchise. What you connect with, and that's perfectly valid for you. And people who, like my friend, the Magic Maker here from Reimagining Star Wars, who are very, very meticulous in following lore and trying to be consistent, can poke holes in a lot of the stories, and they can find fault with a lot of the stories, not just the sequel trilogy, but all of them. And from that perspective, see ways that they could be tightened up. And so some people have taken those kind of things, and the sequel trilogies falls apart entirely, especially The Last Jedi falls apart entirely for them, and it breaks lore for them, it breaks the story for them, and that's understandable. I get where that comes from. For me, I see it from the exactly opposite way. I see that story as helping reinforce the story and building it, and I see a lot of things that I can connect together that make those stories even more powerful for me. So anyway, the speculation is that there's a George Lucas cut of The Rise of Skywalker. I don't believe for a second that it exists. No, not even in any kind of pre-production fashion does it exist. I don't think that George Lucas has edits and cuts of scenes that he has made. I don't think that a single scene was shot specifically for him that he could add to his release of the movie. I don't believe any of that exists in any fashion. So I dispel that rumor entirely. The second part is that George Lucas will come back to Lucasfilm and lead Lucasfilm in some significant way. And this is the video that I watched Star Wars girl, that Star Wars girl, do, and she brought up some very, very good points that that I went and checked because, again, I don't follow her for a reason, but she pointed out he has a 6-year-old daughter with his wife, who's quite a bit younger, as you might imagine, and they spend the majority of their time, they live their life primarily in Chicago. That's where his wife is from. She's involved in things there, businesses and uh, 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 different things within Chicago. That's where they're raising their child, in Chicago. He is not spending the majority of his time out in California. He is not involved with Lucasfilm property, with Skywalker Ranch. That's certainly one of his homes, and he does spend some time there. And we've seen even in the Mandalorian where he's been behind the set, and we know that he's constantly in communication, or I should maybe turn it around the other way. Dave Filoni is in constant communication with George, but when he has questions, and he goes back to George Lucas and asks for opinion and guidance. And that's why a lot of people really, really latched on to Dave Filoni for the future of Lucasfilm. And I don't for a second believe that George Lucas will step back into a leadership role in an official capacity with Lucasfilm. I just don't. I don't believe it. I don't see that as a possibility. Not with his life in Chicago and a 6-year-old, especially at his age. If he wants to have any impact on his daughter and in raising of his daughter, he can't be leading a film studio, Lucasfilm, in California on a regular, full-time, or even significant role. I do think that he'll continue to advise. He'll be available to Dave Filoni to consult, and I do think that he'll visit sets and give his 2 cents from time to time. I absolutely believe all of that, and I expect him to be part of Lucasfilm Productions for some time, for as long as he's capable. So, yeah, a magic maker. Yeah, as a parent of a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old, if you could spend all your time doing stuff with them, you would. Absolutely. And I know that you are at a stage in your life where you're trying to maximize that time as much as possible, and rightfully so. And so I don't think he's going to run Lucasfilm. I don't think he's going to take an official role with Lucasfilm. I don't, even if and when Kathleen Kennedy steps away, I don't see him accepting an official role. For me, it's the 3 Fs. It's Filoni, Feige, and perhaps to some degree we'll get, why did I just go blank on his name? Filoni, Feige, and a magic maker will get it for me here in a second. I think one of them, or some combination of them, will run Lucasfilm after Kathleen Kennedy retires and moves to other projects, and we're already seeing that in the works. So that's what I see happening. I don't see Favreau. That's it. Thank you, my friend. I knew you would come up with it. So yeah, Favreau, Filoni, and Feige. That's what I think the future of Lucasfilm will be influenced by. And I'm not even sure one of them will take over as president of Lucasfilm. They may put somebody else in there who's more of a business type person, and they'll put our 3 Fs in charge of production, and how to. It may be reorganized to some degree after Kathleen leaves. So that's what I see happening in that space. Absolutely, there's no way that we see George Lucas come back in an official title, an official role with Lucasfilm. So those are my thoughts. There's lots of other thoughts as it comes. There's other rumors and leaks, but I've kind of gone on about 45 minutes here. I don't want to just keep dragging on. I want to stay engaged with you. And Xavier, it's great. I have a new subscriber here to my channel. I just love Star Wars, and I love getting involved in discussions with folks who also love Star Wars. Xavier, for what it's worth, Lucas's unexpected tastes sometimes. Young Anakin, oh, there you go. He totally loves the character and how he's portrayed, while many fans could see it as Kate Turner choice. Lucas was heavily involved. Um, and Magic Maker, I'll get to your comment as well. You know, Lucas does have a bit of a weird sense to him when it comes to Star Wars. And we've talked about this before. Um, you know, Jar Jar Binks was a pet project of his, and it was pushing the technology side of it. But he also is quoted, and it's commonly known that he said that Jar Jar was the key to the prequels, that he was pivotal in that story. And then after the Phantom Menace, he backed off of that, and Jar Jar's role went down. But and that took a toll on George Lucas. You could see after that, after the people's reaction to Jar Jar Binks, that took some of the love and the passion away from him, because he was a bit jaded by how he was treated specifically, and his passion was really torn apart at the time, and I think that it took a toll on him. And then if you follow along with the Clone Wars animated series, George Lucas is quoted as saying that the Droid series, where the three of them, three droids are going, and they've got little Plankton. I call him Plankton. That's his Gaston. I think Gascon. It looks more like Plankton from SpongeBob. Plankton was in those episodes with the droids. Those are what George Lucas says are his favorite of the Clone Wars animated series. So that gives you just a sense for his thought. And when he was talking about his treatment for the sequels and the wills, he was wanting to get back into the microbial space of that story. And if you look into it, is that these microbial things would influence one side of the force to strengthen, and then the other side, and they would feed off of the change of energy as the force went back and forth from the light side to the dark side. And Luke Skywalker was supposed to pick up on this and then go out there to try to destroy them, and get rid of that. So it was going to take place in this microbial kind of ebb and flow, and with the wills themselves, and Luke trying to put an end to this pattern of dark side, light side, ebb and flow. So his thought process was not have been as popular as a lot of people want to say. They're just so mad at The Last Jedi, and to some degree even The Rise of Skywalker, that they want to say, well, we would have loved that better. You don't know what you would have loved better unless you actually had it. So let me go back. Let's see. What did... Favreau will develop Lucasfilm with a CFO on the side. I think you might be right. A lot of people talk about Filoni and Feige. Favreau and Filoni, because of their involvement with the Mandalorian. If you watch the gallery, the making of that docu-series they did of the Mandalorian, Favreau and Filoni are a fantastic team, and Josh Lucas with the Den of Nerds has lately come to this statement of calling it the Filoniverse that he's building on Disney Plus, which I absolutely I like that. It's very descriptive that Dave Filoni's kind of building this continuity stream that you see in Disney Plus, and it's really caring for a lot of the things that Star Wars fans care about. And I think it's going to go a long way towards healing the Star Wars fandom as a whole. But I think Feige might end up with a bigger role than people are thinking as well. And I think people overlook that because of his involvement with the Marvel cinema, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Marvel Studios. I think that it might be entirely possible that we see Feige elevated to a position over both studios, and perhaps even at Disney as a whole, uh, promoted up to be ahead of all of Disney studios, and there's the subordinate groups. So don't overlook Feige when we talk about the whole thing. But I tend to agree with you, a Magic Maker. They do think that Favreau, R.C. Scott, you made it. Yeah, great to see you. I do think Favreau is going to be the head of Lucasfilm, perhaps under Feige, and then Filoni will be leading the Disney Plus side of the house, and that'll include both live action and animated. And for what it's worth, I think the future of Disney Plus and Lucasfilm is going to be the future of Star Wars eventually. I think theatrical releases are going to continue to erode, and what we've seen with this pandemic is going to end up putting an end to theatrical releases as we know it. Even when things pick back up, it's just a thing that studios are going to want to protect themselves against, especially when they're holding on to hundred millions of dollars of loans against theatrical releases that can't be released, right? So we know that that's happening with Tenet. We see that's happening with Black Widow. Mulan is Disney is kind of cutting their losses. They're going to try this new model, and if Mulan can make back what they've got in it, or be profitable, look for more of that. And I've mentioned before as well that I think with uh, the volume, we're going to see that continue to grow. We're going to see it evolve. We're going to see it get better and better. The Batman now is going for all indoor shooting, and I think that's where that's going to end up. So I think we're going to see a lot more streaming content, and the studios releasing things to streaming services. Um, I wonder, R.C. Scott. I wonder if Favreau will bring Christopher Lee. Oh, if you so the Magic Maker might not be in on the joke, and Xavier, I don't know if you guys are following along with Fanjecture. Adam Douglas. I was on Fanjecture's Debate 8 a week ago, and we were talking about famous Christophers. And Adam said that we got down to the finals, and it was between Christopher Lee and between Christopher Walken. And I was making a hard argument for Christopher Lee over Walken. And Adam Douglas, the host of the show, the Fanjecture, said, well, Christopher Lee hasn't done anything recently. And, and I mentioned, oh, well, that's because he's dead. He quit working right after he died. Um, so so uh, Adam at that point said, "Wait, I didn't know he was dead." And so now we've got this joke. It's been going now for a week, and Adam, yeah, there's there's a great excerpt from there where I lean in and say he's dead. It was fantastic, and we still give Adam Douglas at Fanjecture a hard time because and we talk about things that Christopher Lee could be involved in. When anytime there's an announcement of a new project, we wonder if Christopher Lee might be cast, and we we give Adam a hard time about that. Oh, Magic, you didn't know Christopher Lee was dead? This is news to you as well. Sorry, I shouldn't have just sprung it on you like that. But yeah, he's been dead for about 5, 6 years, I think. So, so Oh, we we give Adam a hard time, and it's a lot of fun, and we're involved with Josh and the Denim Nerds and that community, and it's been now playing for a week, and it's a lot of fun, and I don't know that's going to go away anytime soon. Uh, so uh, it's so funny. I, I'm telling you, if you guys missed it, RC Scott's right. If you guys missed that debate eight, you should look Fanjecture and go to the end, like the last 15, 20 minutes of the show, when you've got Christopher Walken up against Christopher Lee. And once that happens, it is so funny. And the next day, Trinity at Second Street Marvel uh, uh, clipped that part where I told Adam that he's dead, and like played it back 3 or 4 times, and I laughed so hard, tears. It is it is so funny. Um, yeah, they brought Tarkin back. Well, yeah, they brought Tarkin back. They'll just rotoscope in Christopher Lee into the new. They should absolutely bring him into the new project they're doing on Amazon for the Lord of the Rings, right? Christopher Lee bring him back. So that's it. That's good stuff. Hey, I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to thank you guys for being here. I've been on an hour now, and I enjoyed talking about this. If you missed it, let me know your thoughts about who that other faction might be looking for the child. That's that's a thing that Christopher Christopher Walken. Oh man, if I'm still not over it to some degree, because the last thing that I saw Christopher Walken in was that musical he did where he played Captain Hook, and he mailed in that performance. There's a great video on YouTube where he forgot his line in the middle of that play on live TV, and they're trying to feed him the line. There's places in there where you can see him reading cue cards, like he's just reading straight off of a card, like the guy just. Okay, there you go. So go to Fanjecture, debate 8, Battle of the Christophers, 48 minutes and 30 seconds in, and it's worth your time. It is so funny, absolutely hilarious thing. So anyway, I'm going to call it there for the night, and thank you guys for being here, and hopefully I could get back on again later this week, and we could talk Star Wars again. And until then, I'll say ho, ho, ho,